Okay, so let's get started on turn 2 here. We're going to back away a little in a little while, but right now we want to kind of keep a focus on, the actions of the game, because I don't think listening to the rules introduction gives you that information very nicely. So the first thing that happens is the dawn phase. The Brits get their reinforcements. Now, if I had anything available here that I hadn't already taken, but these have all been placed, they would come on now. And there's no November 21st reinforcements other than those guys. For the Germans, I do have two. These guys show up in zone A or B. A is not incredibly important to me, but it's got a nice defensive value to it. B, there's no marking for this, but it's one of the ones where a breakthrough could happen. So, my other set is F or G. Let's take a look at those. G is in immediate danger. So I'm going to put this entire division here, and it is just a division. If I can get my... You gotta pay attention to so much with this camera now because it's broken. But here's the question. What about the A or B? Do I want the defensive advantage of A, or do I give that up and move to B? I think the point here is I need part of this division to hold A, but I can probably get away sending one unit over here to area B to fill in other things. Otherwise, the Allies could just move, or the Brits could just move in. Now here's the negative to this, though. Other than Cav, the Brits can't just move into here. So maybe I'm safer putting 2 units of that division over there. I'm also going to get my garrisons. And these all come back, placed in any German-controlled free area. Only if they're eliminated. This is kind of funny because my damaged garrisons, for whatever value, remained on the board as damaged units, it seems. These others, what does it say? I can place them in any German-controlled free area. 1 per area. Well, to me this is my defensive line. German-controlled free area. I want to keep them from crossing. There's already a garrison in these areas. I think I'm not allowed to stack them. I'm not sure because I can withdraw them. I think. There's not a lot of desire to do so. I certainly better put something here. Something here. I don't know if I have a garrison here. Doesn't look like it. So I could put one here. I could alternatively... Oh, are those areas... Are boxes areas? No, boxes are zones, so I can't put it in a zone. Which means that one's not going there. I can provide some depth of defense. The Brits are going to, I think, get the first action. So putting something here slows down their opportunity for some kind of overrun or something. And then... I could build more depth out this way, but I think putting something here gives me some room to move some of those excess units out in order to slowly begin recovering them. This one's kind of a waste, but it slows them down. Okay. Now we go to weather. And there we just roll on here. It is clear weather again for this turn. At least at first. Daylight phase. This is where we start taking actions. And the British player has whoever has the advantage, which in this case is still the Brits, because I don't want to spend that in case I need it for the Hague die roll. I don't know if I'm going to meet those requirements on, this turn. I have to meet them this turn. And they add up to something kind of scary, to tell you the truth. Area 1, I haven't taken yet. I probably can get. That's +2. Area 5, I can't enter except with my cav. Which isn't a guarantee that I won't enter it, because honestly, that's pretty weak. Anything east of San Quentin or Zone G, which is this, I don't think I'm going to have control of that. But contesting is sufficient for a +1. So probably the best I'm going to get to is +3. Which means I got to roll a 7 or higher. There's a 50-50 chance I'm going to fail. So I got to be kind of careful with that. And then essentially, we're at the British first impulse here. And I probably won't get started till tomorrow morning. Okay, at this point, trying to figure out what the best sort of plan forward for the British is. And the biggest hindrance for us is we can't advance beyond, you know, this line, basically. And some of that's not terribly easy. Tanks can't cross these canals, except at the bridges. And, well, we've gotten through the 2 bridges. The one exception is I can slip around this way to this side of this canal. And I could actually bring tanks back here and use them to attack that way. I don't know how valuable that would be. I also have... so, looking at that, it feels like my biggest goal is to try to get the 51st as far inward as I can. Because I've got 2 zones to the breakthrough, 3 zones to the breakthrough. Well, no, this doesn't really count. Because we're assuming the bridges are going to fall, are going to break, be destroyed. So that seems more important to me at this moment than trying to push, say, into these areas. Well, these. And given that, by the way, the only unit that can get over here right now is these guys here. And they have kind of already spearheaded forward. Given the geographical limitations for the first 2 turns, I feel like I have to gather together my armor into this space. Now, I can't just do some kind of, hey, gather together, create a focal point for an attack. There's no option like that in this game. So what I feel like I have to do, another option might be helping defend this space. I've got a lot of cav at risk here. But basically what I'm saying that I have to do is move some armor up so that I can, you know, assault at a more impressive level. Point unit's always going to get damaged. I don't want that to be infantry. Armor might recover. But I do think that this location looks pretty damn important for me to push forward into. So I'm going to make this my first move. Now, these guys are not going to go any further than they're going. They're able to get there. And I'm just going to push them forward. No die rolls, nothing's happening. Oh, do I want to interdict a German unit? No, I'm going to want my plane for attacks. I actually could interdict a German unit with a plane. For now, what might I want to take down? Trying to see what it costs. So look at the option rolls here. Has its movement factors halved. Yeah, let's just interdict these guys, assuming I can do that with this range. Actually, we may want to get the guys way out in the end. Any zone containing at least one enemy unit and no friendly. Only zone zones, not areas. So I think it's got to be on map. That makes it less value, I think. Terminology, right? I'll find the map rules again. I'm not sure which is which. These are areas, those are zones are around the edge of the map. And this is a zone. Zones are the edge of the map, right? Yeah. Okay, so indeed I can put it here. I think I'm going to put it on this guy, making him really, really slow. In case the Germans want to get him out of there. So we can kind of catch him in the back areas. On the other hand, it might be nice to sweep through areas, but I kind of want to limit the German units right now as much as possible. Alright, so we're going to interdict them. Germans don't have their plane yet. They get it over here. We did the British turn. Supposedly we have to make a roll for possible weather change, end of round and all that, but that's not going to happen on a 0. The Germans, I don't have a whole hell of a lot that I can move, actually. These guys, I don't want to move. I put them here to defend Area B, and I think the Brits are going to be withdrawing that because they need the air power for their attacks. But these guys are some of my new units that I can free up and start moving. And then I've got like this guy here who's kind of off on his own. Let's take a look at that guy. In particular about the regroup. Any units that doesn't seem to restrict in any way. No, garrison units may not. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. But even though I put a garrison here, I don't think I actually want to hold that territory. I think it's worth pulling this unit out. Let the garrisons get killed or whatever. We're not going to see any crossing where it's coming from. Is it of any value for me to withdraw from that area? See, I mean, I'm in no hurry to get here. I'm in no hurry to get this guy. I might be in a hurry to save him so he doesn't get injured. So that's what we're going to do with the Germans. And that puts us back to the Brits, and before we take them, I think we'll take our plane back. Now we can leave it there. What we can't do is we can't move it anywhere else. It had to be done early. So for the Germans, or for the Brits, I really have no... I may be making an assault here, but I don't think I need these tanks for that. I've got a tank here. I'm going to activate this area and move into here. That allows me to collect my units for the next activation. And again, I'll make a roll. This time the turn can't end, but we could get a weather change. Then we go back to the Germans. What do they want to do? I think we've got more territory we need to cover. These guys, I'll push into here. You know, again, I'm not really doing anything that requires anyone to make, you know, that's going to probably get involved in combat. But I really don't want the Cav just sweeping in. It would probably be the death of the Cav if they tried to, because there'd have to be a German counterattack. But that would throw things into a bit of chaos that I don't want to see. So now, the Brits are up next. 51, Area 51, huh? We can just start plowing through. Do I see anything better at this moment? I mean, I don't want the turn to end before I get this done. So unlike in the first turn, I kind of have to get moving on these. Entering fresh or exhausted enemy units is 3 or 4 respectively. So this would cost me 3. Alright, so let's drop that to 1. Give me my plane. And let's make this one 2. Now, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that far. So should I waste a barrage on that? I just think asking for 2 overruns is a lot. Yeah, no. Let's keep going. I'm not close enough to put it here. Okay. That's what's wrong. Do I need any artillery? Well, I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -1 for the tanks together is only 9. Whereas I'm facing 3 in each case. That's +6. Chances are I'm going to get my breakthroughs. I'm not going to waste anything, but I am going to throw an air unit in here. Because that's not really waste. And we'll start our move. We go in here, and like I said, this is 3 movement points. Make it down to 1. Somewhere I ought to have a little movement point track. That would probably help. But okay, so I said 6. I said 9 to 3 +6. It does 4 hits. That's going to finish off the garrison. It'll be back. We get a British flag. Remove this. A British victory point. Now we can continue moving. We can leave this empty. You see, each of these costs me a tank or a unit to push forward. So I'm actually weaker now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 3. I guess I was 10 to 3 before. That's like +7. 10 to 6 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 2, 3. It's dead. This also goes. And we fatigue another tank. Put this back. Back to the German. Oh, not yet. We have our 2 die roll. At a 4. That's fine. Germans, anything. My feeling is this is too heavily defended compared to areas like this or this. I've actually got too much space to cover right now. Now the Brits can't get across here though. And that's what's important, because I gotta look at these guys. Where do they come in? They come in back in C or D over here. I think I can afford to push this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't get there. Alright, but we'll just send 2 in this way. We can always activate again. That puts it back on the Brits. Do I want to launch some kind of assault from here into there? Well, you know, my tanks are running out. It's an appealing concept, but and this is ugly too. I've got to send infantry in here that's going to get slowed down by that unit. No matter what, if I assault, I take hits, which is why it was useful to leave things behind, to leave garrisons behind, to slow the Brits down. Let me think. Okay, so the Brits' next choice is a tough one. It's, do they want to go into here? This is sort of the last place I can gain, I think. You know, and a launch of an attack here uncovers an area that I need covered. Yes, I could have control of this instead of that, but I don't feel like I'm gaining much, except that extending across the canal, which is of value for the head roll. But I feel like I've got more of a breakthrough possibility by pushing harder in this direction. If I leave things too open, I'm afraid the Germans will attack. Or if I wear myself out too much, I'm afraid it's going to cost me in the end. So this is sort of the optimal place I would like to take. If I'm going to do that, I got to move some tanks up along with this infantry. So if I did take a turn to do that, and we get an 8th impulse, you know, I mean, that may not happen, right? It seems like the impulses are fairly likely to end somewhere in the middle, just because I'm making a roll each time. So this time, if I roll less than a 6, we end, and that's not, less than a 6 is not quite 50%, you know, but it is a fair chance of it happening. And once we start getting less than an 8, we're going over 50%. So I can only count on maybe getting there. So let's see what I'd have. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd be leaving this empty, which is ugly if I make the assault. That's something I probably don't even want to do. On the other hand, it prepares me for further assaults next turn without using the stupid 51st, which is just sort of a penalty unit. However, I think it's more important at this point to make the assault into here and cover some of this ground, I guess. Unless there's some move forward I want to make. These guys can't make the assault into here. This is an important area for the Hague roll. Yeah, we're going to go in here. And in order to do that, we're at 3, 4, 5 to 4. Well, that's not very good. I'm not going to get any kind of breakthrough or anything. But here it's 6 to 4, 7 to 4. That gives me a +3. That's pretty likely to happen. So let's go with that. Oh, look, we lose. And I was supposed to move these guys in. Everybody is disordered now. That was a bad thing. That was a very bad thing. I'm established in there, but I just got a repulse. Or I moved in there, but I just got a repulse, so I have to fall back. I don't necessarily have to fall. Yeah, I do have to fall back to where I came from. Okay. And now we see if it gets even worse by being a short impulse. No, we get to continue into a German turn. I'm not sure the Germans have a whole hell of a lot they want to do here. I feel like I've pretty much shifted everything. I may have too much strength. I have too much strength here and not enough here. I would like to get something down there. So what if I moved, say this 52nd, right? I'm trying to see the numbers on these things. This is 20th land where I don't have to worry about that. 20, 107. 20's over here, 20's over here. I'd rather not move the 20th. What about the 107? That looks kind of moderate. 1, 2. I'm not going to be able to get all the way down here. 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I can use rolling barrages. Huh. I might be able to use rolling barrages to protect my own troop movement, and that might be worth it. Because I do not like the idea of the Brits crossing over here next turn right away. I don't see any opposition to this. You place artillery with a rolling barrage reduces the cost to enter the target area, but never to less than 1. And it kind of makes sense. I'm using it to protect my motion there. So in this case, let's say I drop a rolling barrage here, and I think I'm going to. This was going to cost 2. Now it's only a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me my movement. I expend this, and it seems like it was worth doing. That puts it back to a British turn. Rolling barrage direct support that were not used during a daylight phase are lost. and have to be repurchased. Shit. I certainly didn't want this many for the Germans. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even bought the one. So they're going to take their tokens back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 ammo the Germans stockpiled. What about the Brits? The Brits are a more complicated situation because I had some extra shells last time. I don't remember how many. I saved some. I'm not going to penalize them for that. I'm going to give them, say, 4 of these back, because if I had thought carefully about what the turn was like, I think I would have stockpiled 4 ammo points. I don't really like having the ammo points on the same track as the victory points. They look too much alike. At least the British ones. I wish there was more distinguishment between them. So, anyway, after cheating and fudging that, but that's okay. I mean, this is how we learn a game. Now I got to think, well, what do the British want to do for their next move? Now, what's kind of cool here is my Cav actually has more movement capacity than one would think. So I'm able to actually say launch an attack into here. Well, not into there. I mean, my Cav could, but I don't want to risk that there. I think we're getting late enough in the turn that maybe I want to push and I really want this space. That's the problem. And I could get the 36th into there across that bridge. So if I move into here for 1, 2, and I think it's 3 to enter an exhausted area, 5, I can make another assault. And I think I'm going to do that here. Put this in here. And, you know, I might as well use them all, right? I don't know. I'll use 2 of them this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves me a little British flag here. I could bring some Cav with me, but I really don't want to split the Cav up too much. I need to leave some defensive factor here. This, okay. So we've hit here. This is still +4. These guys are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 4. With +5, I've got a better chance of getting in there. Okay, 6 is definitely going to get me in there. Get my little control marker. I fatigue a unit. I lose some of these. My plane goes back, and now we're getting pretty likely for the turn to end. Nope, keeps going. That means we get another impulse. And the Germans are not happy about that. I don't know what more they want to do, though. And notice now I have a bridge. It doesn't really matter. I have no use for armor back there. I think the Germans are pretty happy where they are, so we're going to pump them back to the Brits and try to figure out what to do. Now, so the whole issue with the artillery ammo is really kind of a pain in the ass here, because you have to pre-plan how much you're going to use. It makes more sense that you track it on the artillery track and, you know, have to buy it for the turns that you need it. But it does make the game more difficult to actually play. The English choices again. Setting up for next turn would make sense to push these guys forward. Likewise, I got a couple of armor back here that I might want to push to the front. These Cav aren't really up against anyone right now, but I don't think they're terribly helpful to add to an assault. They're not bad. They add 1, you know, and they're not divisional, so they do actually add some benefit to an assault. in the same way a whole bunch of, it's like having a bunch more infantry with you. What they can't really do is conduct an assault on their own. And unfortunately, I don't have, enough pieces to say set up some infantry down here either. Not with these guys weakened. I could move these cav quite a bit forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an interesting and important place. I'm considering the idea of pumping more into there, like the cav. But the other thing is the possibility of pumping some these reserves, the remainder of the 62nd Division here, into place. Which is more important, to begin with or whatever. I'm not going to get a breakthrough without armor here. That's for sure. I've got this extra artillery I'm just going to be throwing away. And that's the end of the turn. Unfortunately, in that end phase, it doesn't talk about throwing. Like, what I'm hoping for here was either knight or end would tell me to throw away the artillery. Here it is. Artillery markers that support them expend ammunition. No, that's the recover. And then we get to this silly assault phase stuff. And we don't really have anywhere that I know of where it's saying, hey, toss those away. And that should really be marked in the rules when you're following kind of sequence of play type situations. Okay. So, go back through this. I think everything's in supply. We check for the hurricane barrages. We're in the 21st, so the British need to roll a 5 or greater now. Hey, we fail. Okay. And the Germans should have a roll for this, but they don't. They don't have any of these artillery until the 22nd here, so I guess that's to give you the time span. Okay, no problem there. What about supply points? British makes it 2 dice on the 21st and 22nd. So I get 8 more supply points. And my problem is I gotta figure out. You see, my worry here is that I'm gonna move victory points or ammo points at the wrong time, just because, it's easy. So these are gone now. I gotta figure out how many do I need, and I got no idea. I think I'm likely to make more assaults because I'm freed of my restrictions. I'm gonna be trying to punch through here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna buy 8. That puts me to 4. Now I have to announce that before the Germans even roll theirs. The German gets a die roll. I probably cheated the Germans. Gave them too many. Oh, they have like 9. Let's drop that down to something that they legally could have gotten. Yeah, we cheated for them. Let's put it down here. Okay. So they only get a die roll of them. So they get 4. That puts me up to 8. I'm going to buy 1 because I saw that 1 was useful last time. More than that, I'm not really counting on any counterattacks at this point. But the fact that I don't have that stack of artillery ammo might have changed what the British did, you know? So, all right, on to tank refit. And theoretically, the British should do all theirs before the Germans choose their points. So if the Germans want to spend more ammo, I can go back and do that. Let's look at our damaged tanks, though. These aren't tanks. This is. Okay, so this one's damaged. This is, let's see, G. I can't see it with my eyes, so that was the only way to look. So G just went down to a 425. We got a destroyed unit there. There's another one up here. That's healthy. So I have a pretty potent armor. And this is the problem. I don't have an armor here, so I should have probably moved things forward. I knew I was going to get an armor here, but I feel like maybe I need more punching power than I had. Woohoo! I think that's it for that. We go to infantry refit. The Germans are allowed to refit 1 unit. Well, I think I only have 1 unit. I think this one's the only one I have, which is part of the 20th. Let me put it with the rest of the 20th that's with it. And now, well, the Brits have their dismounted cav option. I think getting rid of a cav to upgrade this unit is worth doing. There's a cost to it, but, you know, I don't have armor over there. So, of course, as I start plundering this, I make it less and less likely that those are going to move forward and be able to create the breakthrough to win the game. Okay. And any additionals, because they're listed here, 25th. Okay. Now we go to the, let's put these in the baggie, or near the baggie, so I remember to put them in. We did not get a breakthrough. Hague. We have to deal with Hague now. I have Area 1. I do not have Area 5. I'm not allowed to, so that's +2. I am not east of the canal yet. So, I need a 5 or better. Or the game ends, right? I get it. The game wouldn't end. What would happen is, I've been marking whose initiative it is with the British versus German marker. That's wrong. The British get to keep their advantage. That's the main effect of this. And that's pretty big, because this was, position-wise, I think this was about as well as you can hope to do on this turn. I think getting that +2 is about as good as you can do, unless you are able to get the 29th across the river, or the canal. Well, we did not win. And now, after we did the end phase, we're looking at bridges, and it's like, what? Okay. So we're moving on to the 22nd, and we're going to see some significant reinforcements come in for the Germans, and that's going to change the nature of things. Okay, some major errata or errors in my presentation so far were pointed out to me. And it's, it's a great thing to have somebody who knows the game actually watching it enough to catch these. The first one is, I've been screwing up all along. No big shock there, but the tanks, all tanks exhaust in an assault. Now, that might have changed some of my decisions of, what actually moved into areas. A bunch of other things. It certainly made the British offensive more powerful than it probably should have been. We'll see. I'm not going to go back and try to restart. But obviously I'm not going to be able to talk about balance from that point of view. Another one, and I thought I remembered this, but I couldn't find it in the rules, and it's right in there. I just can't read. under the casualties rules, I know I pointed out when I was doing the read-through, any losses taken in these terrain areas, including regular combat losses, are reduced by 1, which, again, in the square for the Hindenburg line and the triangles for the nasty terrain. I think the artillery also has that. The things just aren't repeated enough for me to find them necessarily where I look for them. So barrage casualty points is only the Hindenburg line is defensive from that, whereas these, any defensive terrain helps you. And again, I mentioned that when I went over the rules. It's just my playthrough has been skewed by it. But we've had other issues. A number of people have noticed what I already caught, which was the artillery die rolls. The Germans I rolled 2 dice for instead of 1. We tried to correct for that, I think. Part of the problem of not just playing through fairly heavily. I've had other things in my life at the same time, going out dancing, getting drunk, playing lots and lots of Dominion, that have made it difficult for me to focus as much as I usually do on a game. And even then I tend to make lots of mistakes. There's one other pointed out to me. Now, I didn't check this one because this one doesn't comply with the rules. Apparently there's some errata on some available online that changes it from area 5 for the Hague die roll to area 6. I'm going to keep going with area 5, but the area 6 means that you could actually reach this in the initial assault and take that away. And that actually means I think you can get all the Hague points in the initial assault, but it would be pretty damn hard to follow that up. I'm just going to go with what the rules as written state, because I'm not sure why. I mean, I've changed other things, but my feeling there is there's probably an example of play or something that mentions this, and there's reasonable argument for either one. This is a nice, commanding position, basically, I guess. Although that's not much. I don't know. There's a hill there, it looks like, but there's also a lot of forest. But this was one of the key locations aimed for, so I can see the argument going in either direction as to that. We're catching flaws from the same source, one I forgot about mentioning. On the very first phase of the game, the bombardment, the Brits don't actually get an activation there. They just get the bombardment, then the Germans get to react to it, and then the first British phase goes. So I actually gave them too many phases too. I've cheated heavily in favor of the Brits, it turns out. One partial fix for that is I'm going to roll damage against all the undamaged tanks to see if they get hurt. So this guy, 3, he's okay. This guy, 5, we're going to reduce him. Just, to try to create something closer to how you'd actually play. Now, I can't read that because that's too shitty. Yeah, I can't read it there either. I think that's a D. And there we go. This one here. That's fine. This one. And then these 2, which will both be damaged as well. So that gives me, I think that's B and H. It's B, it's H. And, can't guarantee that's an exact equivalence to what we would have seen, but since I did attack with all the tanks to begin with, which I may not have done, I think it gives me some balancing towards what I've done. So the Germans get their reinforcements this turn. They got the barrage, and I kind of want to use that if I can. The reason being that if you don't use it, it goes away, I think. If I could find that. Jeez, I know I saw that. Discard any unused artillery markers. No. No, I think you can hold on to your... something was use it or lose it. Jeez. Oh, God. I mean, obviously the normal ones, but I thought they both were now. If these are not used, they are lost and they have to be repurchased. Oh, no, hurricane and rolling barrages. Hurricane. Rolling. Hurricane are the ones that we have up here. Yeah, those, they're use it or lose it too. So I kind of want to do one of these since I have one and no one else does. However, it's the British turn first, and here's where we have to kind of make our decision. For the Hague roll, I either want to cross the river or into here. This doesn't look too hard. Or get this, or both. Yeah, I know this is probably the correct one. And or try to aim for this. Or possibly a bust through here, breakthrough, and try to get up into, say, here. Because the Germans put their reinforcements down here. They had to put them in C or D. They could split them if they liked, but that seems dumb because now I have a fair assault force that I can punch back with somewhere. Okay, so where do the Brits really want to hit? Overall, the way it stands, I think an assault on here is the most valuable. Or here. Because if I can clear this, then the Cav can do a follow-up on another turn, and it forces the Germans to fall back on another defensive line. So what can I do? Well, unfortunately, I have bad weather, overcast skies, which means my plane is grounded. It also means my gunfire is not going to be as impressive. So, to get an assault into there, and I've got no new, oh, I have new English units too. This is the 22nd, hold on. J or K, I think they probably have to place first. K, I don't have troops in. J, I have other troops in, so I want to put it there so that I can activate it, that region. Because I only have a limited number of activations each turn. That's one of the real constraints on you in this game, is that you really have to, like, try to maximize your use of your forces. Okay. But if I can launch a successful assault here, I don't guarantee a win, but I get a good jump on it. So I'm looking at 4, 5, 6 going in there against 7. Oh, God. All right. Maybe infantry alone isn't going to do it. So let's keep thinking. What I'd like to do, I'd like to shove these guys up into there. Because I could go 1. I can't cross the river though. 2, 3 with a rolling barrage. I could go cheaper than that. Make it 2. This bridge is destroyed too. But the problem is I can't play rolling barrages beyond the 2 hexes outside of that. So I can't make a huge charge forward and then hit terrain that the enemy, hit near terrain the enemy controls, or go into terrain the enemy controls if I'm too far back. Even though these guys presumably have artillery supporting them that could reach there. So I think the real question comes down to, can I get that breakthrough? Let's take a look at the rules on the breakthrough itself. See if there's anything else. It's going to be at the end of a daylight phase, which means even if I take it, an area, there's a chance that the Germans could push me back out. That all or nothing response, that seems like a lot to ask for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope for better weather. Who's this guy? 62nd. Jeez. I'm so short on armor. See, what I'd like is some armor to spearhead this. If I knock this out, then I can get an exploitation into this space. Once I actually own that, getting the cav in there is fine. But this space has to be protected. I can't let the Germans, cut off my path back to those spaces with the cav. Oh boy. All right, I'm going to activate this space. 1. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if I use this? This would get me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. So I just can't launch the artillery any further than here. Crapolas. And trying to go up against where this is looks tough, although these guys can shove their way back in. So I'm not sure I have much chance here in terms of an automatic victory. So then I'm looking at, well, all right, what do I do to fulfill my Hague requirements? And this becomes potentially interesting. If I activate this space, I can use all my movement to charge across here. Now I'll be hitting with 3, 4, 5 to 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, it's that even attack. I don't like that. But then I could dispatch these armor down into Le Pave to get into here if need be, or whatever. And then, if I can start breaking my way through there, that changes the... Oh, Germans. Hi. We forgot about these. When do those come in? It's in the reinforcement phase, I think. And I also forgot, just because, you see, the sequence of play doesn't really align into things very nicely in terms of giving you all the options. So like reinforcements, well, there's a lot of detail about reinforcements that makes it harder to pick this up. I mean, obviously, if you play it a couple of times, yeah, you probably can remember most of what there is about it. It's just capturing it the first time for... Well, it's not really that complicated a game because some of the concepts are hard and are new, and the layout doesn't really fit my normal way of looking. So I get to put eliminated garrisons in the Dawn in any German-controlled free area. Well, a little bit of extra defense. And a little bit of extra defense. Oh, wait, area, not zone. These don't go there. So there's not a lot of places I can put them. Looks like I just am doing defense in depth. Means we'll put somebody here, we'll put somebody here, and I guess we'll toss somebody back here. So it's going to be harder to gain, to hold those. Now I also have swaps, and the English can use them too to replace fresh units. Has to replace an exhausted unit. And the problem with this has to do with So here I have an exhausted unit. Do I want to throw, you know, one of my divisions that's a coherent division and doesn't get any penalties up into the front here? And that's all I have an option for is one guy. Wait, is this garrison? No. One guy could go take the place of this 20th land wearer that's worn out, and it isn't too bad. He adds a strength point, you know, as long as he's not the lead unit, right? I think. I don't know. And now only fresh units count. Okay. I've been counting. Well, I've been cheating for the Germans too, because I've been counting defensive value of their damaged units as one each. So that's kind of evened out. Oh, hell. Yeah, I need to think some more. This game is really crushing me in terms of forcing me to think, which is something I don't like to do. You know, I know it's something that, you know, this is the hallmark of the competitive gamer, right? I outthought my opponent. I outplayed him, whatever. Me, it's more I want the system. I want my decisions to be based more upon, you know, what I see as the simulation value of it. Which it doesn't say this doesn't have simulation value. It just says it's making the decisions hard, which is great for the competitive gamer, but especially makes playing on video difficult. That the pulsed interaction makes the playing on video difficult, because I feel like, oh yeah, I made my little decision here, you know. So it takes me away from the willingness to sit back while I'm contemplating my move and, oh hey, am I getting that roll right, and this, that, and the other. So again, the more modern design factors, the more impulse type actions, quick actions, etc., the more likely I'm going to screw up a game. Yeah, we live with that. So I feel like the thing I most need to do is I need to get my reinforcing units into a position where they can assault. Let's get the, in addition, I need to cover my defensive positions. So we're going to activate this area. We're not going to spend any artillery or anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6, 7, throw the extra cav into there. That way we can swing this side into play there. I think that does us the best that we can do here. Of course, we have our die roll. We're not going to get a 0. And we turn it over to the German impulse. Now, I'm never going to be able to remember whose turn it is if I'm not flipping this. That's going to be tricky for me. Okay, to the Germans, what are they doing? Well, I have a hurricane barrage, and I have a potent single activation here. This is where I'm going to activate. What am I going to do with it? I can go up there for 3. Is there somewhere I can launch a counterattack? I could launch one here. I don't know how much that does me. My line is pretty solid everywhere else, in the sense that I've at least got a garrison and a unit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate this. Do I want to hit with my barrage? My barrage doesn't really hurt me. I didn't take much artillery here. So, well, weather has an effect on the barrage. It's a minus or a +2 on the hurricane barrage. That's not good. Oh, units have their movement allowance decreased by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So in order to do this, I dropped a rolling barrage up here so that I can move in there, because I really do want to get there. Or maybe I'm no. Okay. Too many choices, too many options. So the Germans don't particularly want to do their rolling barrage at this point. They want to see if good weather comes, but I got to make sure to do it before the turn ends. That's the problem. These guys, 1, 2, 3 into here. Here, I want to keep these forces together if I can, but I don't know if I can. because I have a kind of tenuous line. So for these guys, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me a little bit more spread out line. Less offensive capability, but I can use that hurricane barrage against British units to try to damage them. So that shifts us back to the Brits. Shit, you know, there are times when I wish they distinguished things in a different manner. So I vaguely remembered this and found under the map rules. But only under the zones rules. All rules for areas are applied equally to zones unless otherwise noted. Well, you know, this is a problem with using one term, two different terms, and then using one of those terms to relate to the other. That's what I assumed at first, and then realized, wait, there's a distinction, and I go back. Really, they needed 3 terms. And if 90% of the stuff is one term, what they could have done was made, there are areas and there are off-map areas which have some specific rules that show up, or something like that, or zones or off-map areas that have a few special rules. But by calling it zones anyway, they made the problem, you know, exist there. And it's just, you know, it's this tiny little thing, a wording choice, an extra word instead of zones and areas would have solved it, or whatever. But the way they left it open, they left that reminder in the learner's mind to say, oh wait, I look back, and you know, when you look back to reference rules, you don't read the whole rule, right? You did that already, and you try to get the best of it you can. You skim it. Oh, there are 2 different things. There are zones and areas. Zones are located around the edges of the map. They don't even say that they are areas, and they may not be. Maybe some things apply only to onboard areas. I don't remember anything like that. In fact, I don't remember anything about anything that applied specifically only to zones. But it seems like if you are going to use that kind of distinction, you really, really want to actually be using it throughout the game. You know, so anywhere where it applies to both, it should be areas or zones, you know. But by making the wording choice they did, they made it harder on the learner. Not to say that putting both words everywhere would have made it terrifically easy, but it would have avoided making that kind of error, you know. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what to do with the Brits. It's really hard to attack without what look like pretty overwhelming odds, in part because of the terrain. So I'm thinking about, hey, come from Le Havre into here. That gives me 3, 4, 5 strength points, but here we're looking at 4, 7. That's going to take a whole bunch of artillery, and I can only possibly put 3 in. So then we're just looking at a +1 bonus. That's not worthwhile. In most other places, the Germans have gotten strong enough that I just don't think I can break through. You know, I don't think I can punch a hole, and that's good. I mean, the game would be over if it was easy to break through at this point. You kind of want your forming area to be behind the lines, I think, which is historically accurate, but it does slow down your advance if you do that, because you have to roll into an area. So let's say I use this as my forming area. I have to roll into here and then attack here. The reason for that is you can only attack from that one area. So whatever strength you have in there either is what's got to overwhelm the place you're attacking and defend the place you're in, or overwhelm all adjacent areas that you're attacking. Over here, my attack would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. Here at least, no. Because the way the areas are drawn, it's almost impossible to find a place where you can safely attack from. Back here, you know, where the zones are, it's easier to find some attackable space. Now, play would have been different had I not realized that area zone issue. There might have been an attack in here on the first turn. But now I see that I have let my opportunity pass. And, you know, I don't really want to launch all my armor in because it all gets fatigued. However, the rest of it kind of gets left behind. And isn't terribly defensively capable. What happens if we send one armor in? 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, and this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just having a hellish time finding anything I want to do. What do we have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if I throw in all my artillery to 7. I got a +1. It's the flank, you know. Here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 10. Let's try this. I'm at +1. Oh, I get a huge roll. That's +6 on the damage. But we're going to do it right this time. Make it 5 points of casualties. One, 2, 3. We eliminate a German unit. And we actually gain something. Just because we got crazy good die roll. We make a weather check, end of turn check, and all that, and we're up here to the German reaction. And I don't think there really has to be one, because this space is still covered. But the danger is, this is a non-canal attack. So this armor could fly around back here. Ooh, and then there's this open too. Oh boy, we got problems. Alright, what are we going to fill the gap with? Well, let's see, who's 54? Where's the rest of 54? I'd like to keep my divisions close together. I think I can do. And, you know, we'd have defensive units back in those areas too. Sorry, zones, whatever. I think the Germans have to activate this. 1, 2, 3, 4 to cover that. And that puts it back on a British turn. My British dice. And now we'll think about them again. Ideas of some kind of rushing outflank aren't going to work. I forgot I flipped this over then. But this looks like a weak spot on the line. This looks like a weak spot on the line, but this one continues my outflanking maneuver. So in we're going to go. We have 3, 4, 5 versus 2, 3, 4, 5. Sounds even. It's +2. We're not going to get anywhere with +2, so up to +4 we go. And that's pretty much giving up the rest of the turn to gain this little bit of ground we did. But I can reposition other units. 10 to 3, that's 7. No terrain bonus here. So 7. This is worth 6. To kill them. We'd be looking overrun territory if we had any tanks, but we don't. So into another territory. And they actually move in before. And that's all my guns. But I used them all up this time. I did good, right? Back to the joinmans. This hasn't opened up another weakness in the German line, which means I can shift another unit if I so desire. Looking 119. Where's the rest of the bloody 119? There's a 119. Oh wait. Which is which? Yeah, that's the divisional number. And there's a 119. Well, we spread them out. I can't really afford much different. I forgot to roll weather. It was on a 4. I don't know whether or not to drop a barrage in. Is there a conglomerate? There's a whole pile here. Let's drop it in. I want to make sure that I don't lose the barrage, and this could actually be dangerous. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll get +2. I have 9. The defensive value, this isn't great terrain, it's only +2. So it's 9 to 4. Germans have a +5 on their die roll. So that's 7 to 4. I do 3 hits. 3 hits is enough to damage a tank, which might recover. Makes it harder to press for deeper terrain if I lose all my tanks, but I think that's the best I can do. And I don't really see anything I want to reorder. I want to move this. 1, 2. Remember, it's still overcast. 3, 4 across the bridge to there. Just getting myself into a better position where it looks like the attacks are coming. Then back to the Brits. Pushed forward through a bunch of repositioning. The Brits bringing the tanks from, I don't remember where, I think back here probably, or no, from here, swinging them. Actually, there were other units. Infantry moved in, tanks slid around, and we got a significant amount of force into place. Other tanks that were conglomerated or spread out back here are in the front line now. I think we moved to these 2 locations, just pushing the armor forward. Meanwhile, the Germans reinforced their line a little bit and are happy with where they are. We got to the end of the turn, still no weather change there, and now we're in the end phase, which, well, we're in the sunset, no, we're in the night phase. Night, end, dawn, daylight. I wish they had different names, but I'm not going to be. Okay. So now we roll for our hurricane barrages. Let's find it where it's actually in the rolls and not, because I remember there were things missing from the sequence of play. If you play with just that, I was somewhere I was getting hit with problems. Okay. So first thing in night phase is you become exhausted. No. Supply lines were all good. The hurricane barrages were over here. Now the Brits have 2 they could recover. They do not. And the Germans have 1. They do not. The Germans lose their artillery support. Now we get artillery refit. And unfortunately, there's no nice little chart for this, is there? Maybe. Here it is. Cool. Okay. Nope. Here it is. So, Hurricane Barrage refit and artillery refit are different sections. They have them named incorrectly over here. Ammunition. The British get 2 dice, hopefully with no modifier. They get 10 more ammo. Not 10 victory points, and you know what? I forgot to put a little marker and a victory point, I assume. We can recount those if we need to. And now, how many do I want? I'm finding I need as many as I can get. There's 12. How many do I have? Yeah, let's buy all 16. Hope the weather's good. Puts me to 8. That puts me down. Okay, and the Germans get 1 die roll still, which is 5. I don't know if it's worth buying one. How many reinforcements am I getting? I'm getting a pile of reinforcements. It does help to play them, to put them on, to play the artillery barrage. The rolling barrages give you an advantage in mobility, even with kind of behind the lines movement. But I feel like I've done most of that. I'm not going to buy any artillery because I don't think I'm ready for a counterattack yet. But I think the British attack has just stalled. And it's not sufficient, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is going to be hard to count. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I should be around 22, and I don't seem to be. I seem to be around 20. So I'm going to have to keep recounting the victory points that the British hold. If I knew how many of these there were, that would make it easier. There are probably more than 20 of them, though, unfortunately. So let's assume I have the victory points done. What do we go to next? We go to, looks like tank refit. Now, again, the Brits get to do all of this, so if I want to buy some artillery with the Germans, I can. I didn't use up a lot of tanks. There's one. Yeah, that's not getting healed. So that's tank D, and once they start on the path towards falling apart, they're not easy to recover. These are not tanks. Okay. Infantry refit. The Germans can refit 1. We're kind of running out of damaged stuff. Let's refit these landwehr. British. The cav. Do I want to expend some cav to try to recover? I have a couple damaged infantry back here. These cav are going to be a pain in the ass to get into battle anywhere. I'll expend them. That gives me significantly more power in that flank where I think things are kind of interesting. But I'm running low on things that could actually win me the game. All right. What about Hague? We have Area 1. We do not have either Area 5 or 6. I'm leaving it at 5, but we are across the canal and we control it, so we're at +4 to the die roll. If we could get into here with some of our troops, we'd make it so that we have no chance of failing, which would probably be a good idea. +4 means we succeed again and we're okay. We count up our victory points, and we're going to have to do that. But otherwise, we're going to pump the turn forward and load this one up.